became obsessed with the Bayaka music. There's just the sound of the music, and you could almost hear the forest in the music. So it was a craving to come to Central Africa, to the rainforest of Central Africa, and record Bayaka music. That's what brought me here. I didn't really make many preparations. I didn't even bring a mosquito net the first time. And I only bought a one-way ticket. So I think somewhere in my mind I had this idea that I was going to just come here and live forever. I came with very little money, and so I came down. By the time I reached Bayanga, I was practically broke. When I was living in Europe, I became fascinated with music from around the world, what used to be called ethnic music. And I was especially interested in music from the rainforest, but there was also so much beautiful music in the world. The Bayaka music captured me, not just because of its beauty, but also because of the descriptions of the people who make the music. The Bayaka just sounded like a wonderful kind of open society, very tolerant and full of a sense of humor. And also the environment they lived in, the rainforest, was, to me, the most attractive sort of environment. And the Bayaka themselves were, well, first they were very excited that a white man had come to visit, because it meant I was going to throw a party. I'm going to buy lots of cigarettes, and I'm going to buy alcohol and marijuana, and they're going to have a big party and dance for me. I'm going to record their music. I mean, what could be better? They love to hold dances, and I gave them a good excuse to party all night. So they were very accepting, but in a superficial way. They just saw me as somebody they could ask for things from. They still see me that way in a sense, because they still always ask for things from me. But it's really, when they look back, and it doesn't sound like an adequate reason to change your life just because you hear some music on the radio and then you come back. That's what happens. So I don't really know how to explain it. And there must be some deep reasons, unconscious reasons that I don't know, but it's hard for me to know why. I left my life before and then just came here, and I moved here. And it's easier to say what kept me here. Well, first, the music is very beautiful, and I love the rainforest, so that's also, and the people were very, very welcoming to me. And also I fell in love with a woman, so that was the thing that made me stay. And I got along, with them that way. And I think one of the early things that helped me get along with them better was, they always ask for a cigarette or something, and when I give them something, they would say merci in French. And that would annoy me, because just for a little thing, always they have to speak this French word merci. So finally I asked them if they, in their own language, what do they say? And they have no word for merci, for thank you. So I said, well, when I give you something, don't say merci to me. I just give it to you, and that's finished. And that, for some reason, broke the ice, because then they were much more friendly with me and much more relaxed. And so that was one step. Another was because I was smoking cannabis, and they smoke cannabis, a lot of them. So that made them relax, and they thought I'm similar to them in that way. So that was another thing. These are very early things that help break the ice. And then it's just, those were the two main things, and then it was just a question of, also because I could I could recognize when the music was really, when they were singing very well. I knew the difference between bad music and good music when they were performing. And so that, because they're so much involved in their own music, the fact that I could also discern the difference made them also accept me more. First recorded mention in history of the Pygmies is from 4,500 years ago, from an expedition in ancient Egypt that went up the Nile looking for the source of the Nile, and they entered a huge, but from the descriptions it's obvious, the rainforest, maybe an extension of the Ituri rainforest back then, and met a people they called Aka, who they said lived in the land of the trees, and these were remarkable people who danced a remarkable dance and sang a remarkable music to their forest god. Well, basically what it is, it sounds almost in some ways medieval. It's polyphonic music. So if you have one woman who's singing a melody and then you ask a second woman to join in, she will never sing the same melody. She'll always sing a different melody. So you have these two different melodies that match harmonically very nice, but they're very different from each other. And if you have a third woman, then there'll be even a third melodic line. So they sing, it's very complicated, very complex music. Last night we had an example of a ceremony in Bayaka called boyobe. This is the ceremony before the net hunt or even a spear hunt. They usually have it the night before they go hunting. And while you're in a forest camp, they have it almost every night. It's really one continuous ceremony with breaks to go hunting and to eat food and to sleep just a little bit. It goes all the time. And in this, in boyobe, they have to call these spirits called bobe. They have to call them, and the bobe have to give their blessing to make the hunt successful. To get the bobe to give the blessing, the women have to sing music because the bobe love to dance, and they will keep on demanding more music, and they will dance. Maybe the women want to go to sleep already, but the bobe just keep demanding more music, and so the women have to sing. And when the bobe are satisfied, then they will give their blessing to the hunt, and then they return to the forest. And last night, there's a lot of exchange between the bobe and the women. The women are afraid of the bobe, so the bobe can be dangerous. Or their reputation is that they can be dangerous. I've never actually seen them do anything truly horrible, but they might hit somebody with a stick or rip apart part of a house or something like that. And they have this exchange that the women sometimes laugh at some of the antics that the bobe, they dance in a funny way and they make the women laugh, and then other times the bobe will be exhorting the women to make more of an effort to sing more, and then sometimes the bobe jump towards the women, make the women get frightened, and then they laugh. This is the field I bought from the village lady, the big fat woman that was always threatening me and was going to have a heart attack in my door. I bought her field. And so I also got some corn, some maize to plant because a Bantu man has planted maize just across the road from our village, and we have problems all the time. They accuse the Bayaka stealing the corn, so I had some planted here. I say they can steal this corn and have to leave this corn alone. Because the Bantu always accuse, oh, the Bayaka steal their manioc. So I say, okay, now we have our own fields. We have no need to. They have no need to steal your manioc now. This is the spot of my old office. It used to be just forest here. I had an office here. I wrote 2 books. Two books here, yeah, in this spot, right over here. Right here. I wrote 2 books here. Neither has been published. This is my office. See my office here? Yeah, they built it. I was here. This tree fell on it.
The tree fell and broke.
I crushed it. Very interesting. All the music comes from dreams. Of course, you can't always prove, because some songs that come from long ago, I can't prove that it comes from a dream. But judging from the what happens now, it seems that all the songs, and they certainly say that all the music comes from dreams. I suspected for a while, but I've already known maybe for like a year or two that it's I used to think it's just now and then a song comes from a dream, but they all come from dreams. Either they come from dreams, or else they come from, from the forefathers, the ancestors. But even if you trace it back to the ancestors, probably the origin is in a dream. And or else they come from another community, another Bayaka village down the river or up the river or across the forest. But even then, when you trace it to its origin, it's from a dream. No, they hear it. Usually it's in the dream, and then often it's somebody else who sings the song or plays the music, and they hear it in the dream. They hear this other person do it. They say it gives them the song in the dream. And then they wake up and they sing, "Bo, ove tu. Sabla mondo ba buka kita. Mono be buka ba mi abike."
Mesa watu mesa malom peke, me de tembe.
Toujours be buka ba ya bo.
Toujours be buka ba na mtu na bakeka.
Bike.
Iboka je muke kilo na ki. Iboka ike.
Because she says she goes to sleep, and at night she has a dream, and it's different people give her these songs. She says it's really people from times past that are giving her these songs that come from maybe long ago. And she wakes up in the middle of the night, and first she'll sing the song softly to her husband, Bukumbi here, and then he'll encourage her to get up, or she'll just get up on her own and start singing in a loud voice. And then eventually the other women wake up and they start singing as well, and so then they have a new song. And she's gotten so many of these dreams, even up till now. She gets dreams still in this form of music, and she gives it to the community, and then they sing these songs. And she says it started when she was in a camp in the forest. That's when she first started getting these dreams. Music is different from other music that they sing. It's still Bayaka music. It's still the polyphony and everything, but it doesn't have as many yodels as some of the earlier forms of music that they sing. But it's still pure Bayaka music.
Boka kamalo mam. Mebo bano vedi bondoke.
The Bantu, they don't regard the Bayaka as equal. It's just very deep. I mean, you know, if you look in America, where we had the slaves, you know, they didn't consider Africans, people of African descent as human. You know, they were like animals. You can beat them and make them work in the cotton fields, you know, and that was only for a few hundred years of that kind of encounter between the two races, you know, and they're trying to deal with it now in America still. But if you think about the relation between the Bayaka and the Bantu, that's thousands of years probably. So that's a very deep prejudice that's the Bantu have towards the Bayaka, as regarding them as inferior. That's going to be very difficult. It's so deeply ingrained in the way they deal with the Bayaka. Baik Bayaka ba dengan bilo?
Oh, jamais.
Bata baka ba dinga bilo. Bata baka ba dinga bilo. Ba dinga milo tambi. Milo bo fe longa la milo. Fe da nyama. Fe bosako mulango. Fe da bobo. Fe da nyama na ndima.
Oh, diga bobo. Diga motor bobo. Bobo tete.
Bilo. Bon. Musi batiba. Milo abusa mate trasema. Allez, mwaka banga. Meti dingeno obetambi. Bon. Milo. Bon. Buna milo buneje yoma. Alena yoma na mwelene. Bon, abisa tuna musica. O mondo wozo sati ninu na baka. Biti dinge sati ninu tambi. Ali mambi madininu na baka. Biti dinge salite dininu na mambi na bitobo. Uba dininu. Uka kene busola bune. Ka mondo uba ninu. Mondo ba president babo babilo. Badinge to bene. Bo bakpo ebuse. Buse baka buje banyama babo. Bo yiso yoma bene ba pena pose. Biti pe bo yoma na pose tambi. Mbusa njobo buse pe ya bobo ale ya kaye tumba na bimbi.
Velo takitabu vetave bakide milo na kitabu na kutuvedo
Kula tatu ibubu.
tala.
They say now if you have a dream and you greet Bantu in your dream, the next day in the forest you're going to run into a gorilla. That's what it means, that dream. They know that the Bantu are not going to go away. And, you know, they think they consider that their misfortune that they live in in the realm of the Bantu, and they have to deal with that. That's what they say. You know, they have to deal with it. It's their reality all the time. And they have to deal with the prejudices that comes from the Bantu. Like they say, the president of the country is a Bantu, and he likes the Bantu. He doesn't like them. You know? So that's what they say. You know, I don't know the new president. I don't know what his policy is going to be towards Bayaka. I don't know what good a message would do. We want the forest to be protected, the Bayaka to be allowed to carry on their hunting in the forest, their traditional hunting. I'd like to see their human rights recognized by the governments where they're found, of the countries and where they're found. I'd like to see some kind of enforcement of equality between them and the other Africans. These are just, it's like a wish list. It's not really anything that's going to happen. I would love to see the forest protected. There's just, I don't know. you've all come out here into this forest camp. Well, this is the time of year. It's the end of the dry season. We're starting, as you notice, we're getting more rain even than we expected. But this is the time of year when the Bayaka start going into the forest. They move into the forest. This is a good area, though. I've been talking about it. That it's a good area because no one has been here for a while. So there's very good hunting. There's no rules at all in the forest. It's really, it's for me, it's the ultimate life of freedom. You know, you can, as long as the hunting is going well, you can just make up the rules of life. There's so much, you can have a lot of leisure, and they like to have leisure, and they make a lot of music in their leisure. The young generation are beginning to look around for other things besides just the life like their parents and grandparents had the life in the forest. The young people, they want more than that now, you know. I think partly it's this contact with education, and it's also the contact with more of the outside world that comes with the logging and everything else. And they want to take part now in the wider world. They don't want to have the isolated life in the forest anymore. So they're going everywhere. The road's going everywhere. Where the roads go, then you have people immigrating, you know, immigrants coming, making villages, and, you know, it's all going to be gone. In 10 years, it's going to be gone. These three guys are ready to go to France, and this guy does not want to go. He'll stay here. I said, would you go forever or you want to come back? I said, well, we don't know. We'll see what happens when we go. And then another guy said, well, I want to stay there for years and years and years, and then I'll come back.
The work. They're going to work.
Yeah, I said, what are you going to work? He said, I'm going to go to school.
Moi, j'ai parti à Cameroun, à Brazzaville, à Congo, à Gabon, à Italien, à États-Unis.
Now what we have is this dance called Nandobo. Now this is actually a contamination from the village Bantu dancing. I don't know exactly where this came from, off the radio, or it came down from some Bantu who came from the savannah to Bayanga. But anyhow, this has now become an established tradition with the Bayaka here. And in fact, it's the dance of choice of the young generation, of the young girls and the boys, and they come and they dance it, even though the adults don't like it. The children, any chance they get, they will dance this. And you notice the rhythms it's a different kind of rhythm. It's a Bantu type of rhythm. The harmonies are very different. The style of singing is different. It's not that complex polyphony anymore. I find the singing very boring, musically speaking. And the type of harmonies, and as you can see, they've come out here to dance in the road because they know they would be yelled at if they were dancing this in the camp. So they've come out here to dance in the road. They're like.
Makosa. Niko wachimba eka.
Last night we had a ceremony for the net hunt, Boyobi, and it was a very beautiful ceremony. There were the spirits were wearing what they call stars, which is the bioluminescent fungus that you find in the forest. And so the spirits were wearing that. There were at least 10 of them dancing around, very beautiful, lots of singing. It was for this hunt today. The last song that they sang this special song where they were saying Bando, Bando, and that's the last song of the Boyobi ceremony, and that's the song during which the spirits give their blessing for the hunt. And so far today it's been a very good hunt. We've had a net hunt now. They've gotten, I think, 5 blue dikers and 1 larger red diker, Peter's diker, and it's only not even 10:30. So the ceremony Boyobi, it is theater. It's theater and music and dance all mixed in, you know. So you have there's always this interaction between the spirits and the women, and sometimes joking around, and sometimes the spirits they even will threaten the women, not seriously, but they say, okay, you're not going to get any animals tomorrow, or something like that. And then the women, oh no, we'll sing again. You know. Right, this morning, beginning early in the morning, we had a dance they call Enyomo. Now, Enyomo is a dance that came from Congo to the Central African Republic. It was brought over by 3 different families. The first family brought it over in 1994, and then it came over with 2 other families in 1998. It's a new dance. It has its origin in northern Congo. We had a wonderful, beautiful dance this morning with Enyomo spirit wearing a malamba, these skirts that they make in northern Congo, where they're tie-dyed with vegetable dyes. And he had a little wooden mask, a little black mask, perhaps made from ebony wood. And it was beautiful. The acoustics in this area are just fantastic. Voices just sounded wonderful, very rich polyphonic singing for the Enyomo songs. Have a lot of high yodel content, I call it. Lots of yodeling in the melodies. Very dense, textured polyphony, very bright sounding, beautiful music. And so that was how we started the day today. And then after that, everyone went hunting except leaving all the children here and one old man. And it's like we're with the kindergarten. And now the children are having their own little boyobi dance. Like there was that big, huge dance at night with the boyobi dressed in the stars. And now we have these children here who have their little dance. Bayaka, really, one thing you notice about them is they don't really think too much about the future. They're always thinking about the present. You know, they're very alive in the moment. And as far as I've been able to tell, in their language, there's no real future tense. There's a past tense, but there's no real future tense. If you want to talk about the future, you preface it with tomorrow or next week or next month, something like that. But they always think about their fulfilling immediate needs, and it sometimes leads to very strange decisions that they make. When we once went to Paris, went with Bayaka once to Paris, and they were invited 16 to go and take part in this Africa Musical Festival. While we were there, they were treated very well, given lots of food. They were drinking a lot of wine all the time. And every time a bidon was finished, was emptied, one of them would claim it. They say, okay, this one is mine, because they want to bring them back to Africa, because it's nice to have for water and things like that. So each time a bidon was finished, then you had someone claiming that bidon, this is mine, this is mine. So by the end of the 10 days, there was so many of these bidons, and so then it was time to go to the airport for them to fly back to Bangui. So we went and we had these 3 big drums, beautiful drums that they brought from Central African Republic that they had made especially for this festival, really big, tall drums with the animal skin on top. And so we brought these 3 drums and all these bidons to the airport, and they said, oh, we have to pack the bidons, so we've got these boxes, and we were putting the bidons in the boxes, and then the airline said, oh, you can't take those bidons, it's just, they take up too much room. You have all these 3 big drums, so that's all the room you can have in the plane. You can't have these bidons. And so then the Bayaka said, oh, that's no problem, we will leave the drums and we take the bidons. And so that was their decision. And so they left the 3 drums and took all their bidons back. This mentality of just thinking mostly about the present, not thinking so much about consequences in the future. It's one of the main things about the Bayaka that the Bantu can exploit. In the middle of the month, they have no money and they might just want some cigarettes or something. They feel like having a smoke or even a drink or whatever. And so they want to borrow money, but the only people, they can't borrow it from the logging company. The logging company doesn't give money that way. So they go to the Bantu. The Bantu will loan them money, but at 100% interest. So the Bayaka will, if he wants to borrow 2,000 francs, he has to pay back 4,000 francs. And then, so the Bayaka, they just think, I want some cigarettes today, so they do it. And they have this money, and the money doesn't last long. And so anyhow, at the end of the month, they've made these bones with several people. So often they have no money at the end of the month. They get their money, and the Bantu are right there. They grab them by the throat, give me my money. They rip open their shirt, they take the money. So they work often for nothing. There was even one with the guards who worked for the project. One of the classrooms, they were having a little class about wildlife, I don't know, something. Why do they want to have conservation, something like that. These were the people who work for the conservation project. They're the guards to catch the illegal hunters. And so their leader was saying, well, now, here we have, he wrote on the board humans. And he wrote, in another spot, he wrote gorillas and chimpanzees. And he said, now these gorillas and chimpanzees are our closest relatives in the animal world. And then one of the guards said, but where do the pygmies fit in? Where do they fit into this scheme? So, So this is a real belief, The Bayaka are inferior, they're not fully human, they're closer to the animals. I think the traditional life of the Bayaka here in this region is slowly disappearing. Even not so slowly. It's only in the last generation. Because the music is changing. It's been less traditional music, more influence from music, songs they learn in school, because now some of the children go to school. And also the pop music has an influence, and now the young people like to dance to the radio. They don't like to so much for their own entertainment. They don't make music anymore. They listen to on the radio and they dance. I think it's and it's becoming more and more difficult to do a hunting gathering way of life in the forest, because it's less animals. The forest is all getting cut up, and some of the forest is now a park, so they can't go there, and so there's a lot of areas that are no longer available to them. It's the way of life is going to disappear. It's now, for me, it's what will replace it. That's very important. I've been here now 17 years, but I can't really say any one moment when I knew I was not going back. I mean, I go back every year for a visit, so something like that. But But the idea of leaving, it's just too beautiful, and I don't know how long it's going to last. You know, it's the forest is being cut down. Sometimes you see the trucks go by here carrying the trees, you know, and then the many people who come because of the sawmill, because of the logging, they come look for work, and then they have guns and they shoot the animals just to sell, to make a profit, and so. How much longer is this forest going to last, you know, and this way of life? It's really the end of it. And so I can't make myself leave. I have to stay here as long as I can.
Mboko teko, bimba teko. Oh, ay, hey, oh, Mboko teko, bimba teko.